Hello and welcome to today's webinar hosted by the National 911 Program. My name is Pat and I will be the moderator for today's session. The webinar series is designed to provide useful information about federal and state participation in the planning, design, and implementation of next generation 911, coupled with real experiences from leaders overseeing these transitions throughout the country. Our session today features two presentations. First, we'll hear from Ms. Serena Maxey, Branch Chief of the Department of Homeland Security Office of Emergency Communications, Technical Assistance Branch. Following the OEC presentation will be Ms. Cheryl Benjamin, a GIS Program Manager, New York State Office of Information Technology Services GIS Program Office. After each of the presentations, the speakers will be available for question and answer. For more information on future National 911 Program webinars, or to access archived recordings or learn more about the National 911 Program, please visit 911.gov. Feedback or questions about the webinars can be sent to National 911 Team at mcp911.com. If you are experiencing difficulty with the WebEx application, please call WebEx Technical Assistance at 1-866-229-3239 and select option 1. Please note that all participants' phone lines have been put in listen-only mode and this webinar is being recorded. To ask questions of our presenters, feel free to take one of two options. Use WebEx's chat feature located at the right-hand side of your screen. Enter your question at any time during the presentation and it will be entered into the queue. Or to ask your question live, use the raise hand feature to request your phone line be unmuted, and you will be called upon to ask your question. With that, I would like to introduce Ms. Lori Flaherty, Coordinator of the National 911 Program. Lori, please go ahead.
Thank you, Pat, and good afternoon, everyone. Many of you know that the Department of Homeland Security's Office of Emergency Communications is a group of dedicated folks who play a really critical role in ensuring the availability of a viable, operable, and interoperable emergency communications infrastructure. Ms. Serena Maxey leads OEC's Technical Assistance Branch, and these are the folks who provide direct support to state, local, and tribal emergency responders and government officials. And they do that through the development and delivery of training, tools, and on-site assistance to advance public safety interoperable communications capabilities. Particularly of late, the National 911 Program and OEC have been working very closely together. In fact, OEC assigned one of their staff to the 911 program for the last 6 months or so to help really identify specific ways to strengthen our ability to collaborate and to work together. And this presentation is a direct result of that collaboration. So with that, I will turn the floor over to you, Serena. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much, Lori. My name is Serena Maxey. I'm the Branch Chief of the Technical Assistance Branch here in OEC. We've had a wonderful and tremendous opportunity to coordinate with Lori's shop to be able to provide that SME over to support the services that we hope to deliver for the support of NG 911. I just want to thank everyone for the opportunity to update you today. I hope to be able to provide some updates on TA service offerings available through OEC, and we hope that it will be able to support you in your efforts in planning for Next Gen 911. Go to the next slide, please. Go to the one right after this one. All right, so nothing is more central to public safety's mission than communications. As you know, it's a critical infrastructure. It's a key ability for stakeholders to be able to communicate in the event of an emergency. These are some statistics that really underscore the reliance of public safety personnel on emergency communications to protect property and save lives. There are over 600,000 emergency calls made to 911 centers, over 30,000 arrests that will be made by law enforcement. We're certainly increasing our law enforcement engagement opportunities over the next couple of years, looking at the body-worn camera initiative, integrating law enforcement into some of our CallMail offerings, really being able to fold in some more and broaden our public safety stakeholder community. There are over 1,000 wildfires will be fought by fire departments and over 60,000 patients that will be transported by EMS. So millions of folks millions of public safety personnel will rely on public safety and emergency communications to protect property and save lives. Next slide. So this timeline shows how the emergency communications landscape has changed over the course of the last decade. So going back for a minute to the first 2005 statewide plans, which are now the statewide communications interoperability plans, and really looking at all that's happened between now and then and how those plans have really evolved to incorporate pieces of LMR, 911, broadband planning to really pull out that strategic planning element across the lanes of the interoperability continuum. And certainly during that time, challenges to interoperability were mainly focused on land mobile radio, and those pieces are beginning to broaden, especially as we look at governance within the states and really being able to tie in that three-legged horse of LMR and 911 and broadband planning. But now, really looking at how cell phones, text, geographic information systems mapping, and social media really play a very critical role in emergency communications, and all these factors really have to be considered in to achieve interoperability. So in 2015, we really have to take these new technologies into account as we start planning for emergency comms across the entire emergency communications ecosystem. So now we're factoring in the pieces of citizen to government for requests for assistance and government to government interactions for incident response and coordination, really looking at government to citizen interactions for alerts and warnings, and then citizen to citizen for tracking that public information exchange, and really just looking to break down that incident just piece by piece to understand what happens from the placement of that 911 call to the response. Next slide, please. And so the overarching OEC approach is very, very holistic. We've got a partnerships group that really ties into the stakeholder community, hears the needs from the public safety stakeholders, and feeds that into a lot of the products and services that we do. We've got a group, Advanced Architecture and Technology. They're really looking at the research and development, the standards, the technology, and really being able to forecast where we're going to be in a few years for emerging technologies. And then Priority Services, our communications portfolio management piece, where we're looking at, GETS, WPS, TSP, and really being able to sustain that communications in the event of an emergency. And then the NECP grant guidance, the policy and planning piece, is very key because we base a lot of the things that we do around the policy and the legislation around it. So that National Emergency Communications Plan is really the cornerstone by which we base our strategic plans, we base our technical assistance engagements from. And as you know, the NECP was recently updated to incorporate elements related to NG911, broadband planning, and other pieces of emergency communications across the ecosystem to really address a holistic approach to emergency comms. Next slide, please. And so technical assistance is where we actually execute a lot of the policy behind the strategic planning elements outlined in the NECP. This is just a screen capture of the technical assistance catalog. We put this out every year. On one side, we've got the strategic planning element of the SCIP, which allows states to look across the lanes of the interoperability continuum, from governance to SOPs to training and exercises to usage, really being able to look at the gaps and challenges within the state. And then we hope to be able to, on the other side, address those gaps and challenges through technical assistance. So those two processes are very, very linked. Next slide. So we try to take a four-prong approach. Our goal is to ultimately be able to support and advance interoperability for all of the 56 states and territories. This includes strategic statewide planning, state-requested TA, national priorities TA, and automatic tools. So for the statewide planning, and I talked about this a little bit, is really taking a look at the architecture outlined in the National Communications System that we set out in 2014, and working with each state and territory to develop SCIP workshops to ultimately be able to create a strategic plan that goes across the lanes of the interoperability continuum. The state-requested TA is requested through OEC biannually, and the goal is to be able to take the goals and initiatives from the SCIP plans and then also be able to take a look at the risk analysis outlined in the state THIRA and crosswalk that with the new initiatives and the new priorities within the state to be able to provide the support to the states that they need in a holistic approach. The OEC National Priorities TA is ultimately looking at things that we see and that we hear from the stakeholder community. So one of the things we're looking at is our new 911 offering, the new COML offerings that we've recently put out, governance, and a few other pieces that we hear from the stakeholders that we put out as national priorities. The automated tools are from the Public Safety Tools website, www.publicsafetytools.info. We hope to be able to assist agencies with their ongoing emergency communications needs. It's got web-based training, information sharing, templates. It's just a one-stop shop for information sharing for our stakeholder community. And it's also where we house our Communications Asset Survey and Mapping tool, which is a geospatial tool that we use to map communications assets and COMLs. So we have a link to that tool as well. Next slide, please. So our focus area for OEC is to be able to support the states in their planning related to next generation 911. Our TA programs offer courses for 911 operators, communications personnel, state officials who are all interested in learning about NG911. And this also includes an NG911 strategic planning course to support them in the planning for the acquisition and deployment of NG911 services. So the goal is to be able to ensure recommendations are included from the 911 community on how to migrate towards NG911 across the state, enhancing a sense of community across the plan participants, determining a path forward that can be shared with industry to understand those major technological initiatives in support of the state's vision, and really just having a shared understanding of the roles and responsibilities of everyone involved. So this is a one-day course that really draws on those best practices from other jurisdictions, allowing folks to be able to share information across the lines, best practices, things that work best for them. And the goal is to hopefully be able to help decision makers with these planning considerations, looking at the available equipment in the marketplace and figuring out those categories of equipment. Next slide, please. OEC also offers text to 911 support. So in March 2015, we launched a pilot during Georgia's APCO NENA conference to really be able to share information. We've got a lot of really good best practices from that. And from that, we were able to develop a half-day or full-day course, and it can be modified for PSAT personnel or PSAT managers or high-level decision makers. And it also provides attendees with an overview of policy, initial steps to implementation, training program implementation, and public education initiatives. Next slide, please. So this is just an overview of the NG911 requests received as broken out by the region, just to give you an idea of how many that we've got. We've received about 34 total requests, with about 21 being delivered and about 13 we hope to be able to take place next year. About 30 states have developed NG911 master plans or strategic plans, which really define technology, operations, governance associated with the transition to an IP NG911 capable system. And about 25 states have begun deploying aspects of an IP-based NG911 system. So we've made a lot of good progress in the planning of this. We currently have two modules. Module 1 is kind of like an NG911 overview workshop, and the Module 2 is really digging in and doing that strategic planning piece. Next slide, please. So this slide just details the ways in which you can request OEC support. At the beginning of each fiscal year, and I talked about this a little bit earlier, OEC coordinates with the STWICs, that's the statewide interoperability coordinators for each state, who may submit up to 5 prioritized requests for technical assistance. The OEC coordinators are a real key asset to OEC. They're really the boots on the ground. They're going out and really talking to the state legislatures. They're talking to the governance bodies and really getting a lay of the land on what it needs for NG911. They help bring back information for TA to be able to modify our offerings and make them better. So before we even reach out for any kind of technical assistance engagement, we already have a really good sense of what's going on in the state based on the feedback that we get from the RCs. So they do a lot of that coordination for us. They support the preparation, the planning, the improvement of agencies' resilience, emergency communications capabilities, and operations. So they provide that regionally based support during training and exercises also. They're truly our boots on the ground, and they're that direct link to each stakeholders and the issues that they're experiencing and the things that they need back. So another way to request OEC support is through our email, sending a note over to OEC at hq.dhs.gov. And as I said, we certainly crosswalk the requests that we receive with the strategic plans of the SCIPs, so really looking through and figuring out what sorts of challenges within the SCIPs are goals and initiatives, where states are really able to figure out what types of goals that they want to accomplish for the next 3 to 5 years. So figuring out annually where they're at with those to kind of provide a feedback loop so that we can touch base and figure out where folks have advanced or still need help with, or places that OEC can support them. So our goal is to be able to revisit them through both the SCIP workshop offerings and then also the technical assistance engagements that we have. Next slide, please. I think that's the end of my official slides. I know that I kind of went through them fairly quickly. My goal was to be able to just provide a high-level overview of just some of the support that we're doing with the states for NG911 and advancing them towards increased interoperability, information sharing, and effective emergency communications. So I hope this information was very useful.
Thank you, Serena. We'll start the question and answer portion of our session. As a reminder, to ask a question, please use the WebEx chat feature located on the right-hand side of your screen, or press the raise hand button so we can unmute your phone line. And currently, I am looking to see, I have not received a question or anybody's raised a hand. So if anybody has any questions, please ask them now, and then Serena can answer them.
Pat, this is Lori. Could I ask a question, please?
Oh, sure.
Thank you. Serena, so clearly the relationship with the SWIC is an important one, and one that we would like to encourage, one that, the collaboration between the 911 folks and the SWIC seems really important. So do you have any ideas or suggestions for folks in terms of how to establish that relationship if they don't already know who their SWIC is?
Yeah, I think that that's one of the huge challenges that a lot of states are facing right now. And one of the things that we're looking at even internally within OEC is just really focusing on governance. I think bringing the right people into the room for our engagements that we've had previously, and really figuring out, how can we get more participation from the NG911 folks. And as I mentioned, I think, in the past, one of the main points of contact that we've really reached out to are the SWICs, but given that they have so many roles and that many of them are shifting to different roles, they're also in different levels of the state legislature position-wise. So some of them are really, really, really plugged in to the priorities of the governor, and then some are a little bit in different areas within the state government structure. Some are even over in IT shops. So folks have a really tough time figuring out, the one-stop approach for one state that doesn't necessarily work for another. So that's definitely something that we're looking at down the road, is figuring out how we can get more engagement from folks, not just from the LMR community, but broadband and NG911. So I would say definitely figuring out who your SWIC is. We've got information on the SafeCom website and the NICSWIC website, and I can provide that on a listing of who the SWIC is for your state, and just doing the initial coordination and reaching out to them is a really good step in the right direction.
Thank you, Lori and Serena. I've got a couple more questions. What kind of results have the states had with the 911 technical assistance? What kind of results have you had with the states working with the technical assistance?
So far, I mentioned that about 30 states developed NG911 master plans and strategic plans, which really look at technology, operations, and governance. So a lot of it right now is just the planning piece and really capturing that strategic planning element and figuring out where they are with the development and being able to, have the technology available to be able to implement these NG911 systems. So a lot of the states are beginning to, develop and deploy aspects of an IP-based NG911 system. So our goal is to be able to support them in that initiative. So bringing the right people into the room, introducing NG911, some of it's just been an education piece, and really figuring out what the state's NG911 vision and mission statements are going to be, and figuring out what types of goals that they want to accomplish in the next 3 to 5 years. And then also being able to align some initiatives to achieve those goals. So for us, some of it is just that strategic planning piece and the planning element of implementing the NG911 system. We've also got, one thing I didn't mention is that in April 2015, we did develop a Next-Gen 911 strategic planning guidebook. And the goal of that is to be able to really provide a step-by-step focus on migrating towards NG911 services. And it really just explains each component of the NG911 strategic planning template, provides an understanding on how each component can be developed, and really being able to put that ownership into the states and providing that template for that strategic planning, and really being able to figure out what are their strategic long-term goals of what they want to accomplish, and then tactically what short-term goals they want to accomplish. So a lot for us is just kind of supporting the states. Following us having a few more of these engagements with the states, because we did just release the new offering, we'd like to circle back with them to kind of figure out where they've gone with it and how far we've been able to move the meter with it.
One of our next questions is, what is the OEC doing about cybersecurity for 911?
Yeah, I think that's a topic that we're definitely looking at. I mean, right now we're housed under the Office of Cybersecurity and Communications, so we're working with the comms sector to figure out how we can operate within the communications infrastructure and figuring out that broadband planning piece. One of the things that we're doing, even in our exercises with advancing governance, is really bringing in broadband folks to be able to shape some of the discussion. So looking at it holistically from NG911 to broadband to also LMR, and really just bringing the right folks into the room. So a lot of the cybersecurity pieces and elements are things that we're currently in the process of working through. And I think a lot of it is going to initiate with the strategic planning piece of figuring out where the states are with it.
Okay, thank you. We have one more question. How can states leverage work already done for the states you've supported? Is it online? Is it available?
So the products that we provide to the states, we deliver to them, and it ultimately becomes their product. So this is a strategic planning tool that the states will be able to utilize with their planning going forward. We are looking at a regional approach where states can share information across state lines, and the RCs, they're one of the key resources that we leverage. And a lot of times, a lot of the best practices that come out regionally are shared across, just from the RCs being able to engage individually with the states. So a lot of it is just, voluntary information sharing. But we can definitely be looking at how we want to share that in the future. We don't currently collect all the NG911 plans as a repository. We keep them just for our internal, planning purposes as we're engaging with the states on other engagements. But currently, we don't house them on our website. But I think that through these engagements, as states start identifying the need for information sharing, as some states are a little bit more advanced and involved in their planning for it, and then some states are still emerging, I think that we definitely need to have some conversations on how we can leverage some of those really strong states that have kind of been the trailblazers.
Thank you again. I'm going to ask one more time, are there any other questions? I think we've got some good information there, but are there any other questions before we move on? I am not seeing any questions, so I'm going to turn it back over to Lori to introduce our next speaker.
Okay, thank you, Pat. Our next speaker is Ms. Cheryl Benjamin, who is the GIS Project Manager for New York State's ITS Division of Homeland Security and Emergency Services. With the critical role that GIS plays in NG911, we're always interested to hear about GIS programs and their experiences, especially when we hear that GIS and 911 folks are working well together. Today we have an opportunity to hear how New York State is progressing with their statewide GIS initiative. So Cheryl, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Lori. Good afternoon, everyone, and thanks again to the National 911 Office for inviting me to speak today about building our statewide address points file. So let's go ahead and get started right and go to the next slide. So today I'm going to be talking about New York State Streets Address Mapping Project, or it's the SAM project as our common name that we like to call it. And the goal of this project was to build a statewide file of address points that would be used in Next Generation 911, but also for many other purposes. Advance the next slide, please. So to give you some background, the SAM project began back in 2011 when we were awarded some additional funds through the National Broadband Mapping Program. Our office, the New York State GIS Program Office, already had over 10 years of experience building streets and address points data, and we received supplemental broadband funds to move our parcel-based centroid address points onto structures and also to build out areas of the state that were missing address points or where our coverage was not quite complete. So around the same time, our friends over in the New York State 911 coordinators were learning about Next Generation 911 and how GIS was going to be core to the Next Gen 911 functionality. And they were starting to have discussions about building a statewide master address database, but they lacked the funding to be able to build a coordinated data set. So we both had this similar goal of a master address point database. And the GIS program office, we had GIS expertise in the funding, and the New York State 911 community had the local knowledge of the addresses and the desire and requirement to make sure that information was going to be kept up to date. The timing for us on a partnership was really opportune. So we started to have some high-level strategic planning meetings with our 911 coordinators, and quickly we focused on a few key principles. First was that the data must be built to NENA standards to support Next Generation 911. And it also had to be able to support high-quality geocoding and address matching for our state and local governments' use. And importantly to note, though, is that because the data was being built with federal funds, it also had to be publicly available. But it couldn't contain any personal or sensitive information like names or phone numbers. It was simply going to be an XY coordinate that had a civic address that would be attached to it. Next slide, please. So the first stage of our SAM project was the data build. We had very limited resources in our office and a very tight time frame. We only had 3 years from when we were awarded the funding to be able to build the data sets. So we needed to procure contract services to help with the data build. And the contractor that we hired ended up using our state's high-quality ortho imagery to physically place the points on structures, and we also had them create parcel centroids for vacant but validly addressed parcels. And they would parse the address into NENA standards and populated the addresses and attributes based upon a data build plan that we individualized for each county. So the state's role in this whole process was we were the interface with the counties. We requested things such as address points, parcel data, streets, alley lists. Basically, we were looking for any source data that was going to help us to locate or identify an address. And then we would evaluate the source data and create the data build plans. We were actually, our office, the ones that were speaking with the counties with the goal of building a long-term relationship that would be critical for a successful data maintenance program that would occur beyond the build. We also reviewed all the data deliverables to provide consistent QA/QC processes throughout the project. It's important to note that by the time we actually got to the whole state RFP contract award process and contracts were signed, we only had a little over 18 months to build the entire state of New York. That was exclusive of New York City, which we built separately using New York City supplied address points. So next slide, please. So once we completed our strategic planning meetings, and long before the RFP was awarded, we began the series of in-person stakeholder outreach meetings across the state. And our goal was to educate as many people as we could about the SAM project as early in the process as possible, given the very short time frame we were operating under. So we started early in 2012. We had 4 regional meetings around the state with the 911 community stakeholders, and then we followed those up with individual meetings with all 57 counties in New York City. And invitees to these individual county meetings not only included our 911 partners, but we reached out and made sure anyone in the county who was going to be using GIS data or who managed an address database were invited, as these would be the people who were going to be providing source data, or they were going to be the future users of the new SAM address points. We also held meetings with many other states and local government stakeholder organizations, federal agencies, and the vendor community. Next slide, please. So our goal was to take advantage of as much available source data as possible and not duplicate work that had already been done. And as we collected source data, we discovered that many counties, as shown in this slide, had already started building their own address points. And because the SAM points were going to be made publicly available, we really need to make sure that each county understood that that was going to be one of the requirements. And so we had them all sign a data usage agreement if they were providing data, in which they agreed that their source data could be used in that SAM data build without restriction. And they also were acknowledging that the final SAM address points would be publicly accessible. So how successful were we at actually getting the counties on board? So if we go to the next slide, you'll see that we had 100% participation. Let me tell you, it was not an easy task, and it really did require a lot of constant communication and a lot of prodding of our partners. It took actually right up until the end of the data build to get everyone on board. In fact, in many cases, we ended up going back on site to meet with the individual counties, partners, and address the concerns of their signatories. I guess you could say we're a little bit persistent in our efforts, but it definitely paid off in the long run. Next slide. So one of our early challenges in the project was to figure out a way that we were going to be able to consistently QA/QC the data deliverables within our short time frame, given that every county that was built had a different set of data that was provided for the build. The review was actually done county by county and consisted of 2 phases. The first phase was just a very simple review of the entire county deliverable, confirming it was in our data model. It included all of our attributes, and the attribute values were in compliance with any set domains. And there was absolutely no way we were going to be able to review every point the contractor delivered, so the second QA/QC phase involved reviewing a random sample of the points. And the sampling was based on an ANSI standard we had used previously to build our streets. And the ANSI standard had the sample size governed by the total number of points in the deliverable being reviewed. However, regardless of the sample size, it could have been as small as 315 points or as many as 2,000 points, a deliverable would be failed if it had more than 18 errors in it. So each point that were reviewed in the sample had 2 types of review. One was for positional accuracy. In other words, did it fall within the visible edge of the rooftop? Points were also reviewed for their attribute accuracy. And again, for that example, were attributes populated according to that very specialized data build plan, and were the addresses parsed correctly. If either or any one individual attribute was incorrect, that address point would be considered failed. So our initial data deliveries came slowly, but once the data build and the QA/QC procedures were fine-tuned, deliveries really picked up and were coming at a fast and furious pace. At one point, we were getting counties delivered about once a week. Next slide. So this was a very complicated project. We had lots of partners, lots of moving parts, and it was critical that we made sure that we kept all of our stakeholders informed and engaged throughout the project. And so to do so, early on we began publishing a bi-monthly newsletter about the project status and any issues we run into, and posting all that information online. We also continued meeting with stakeholders at their annual association and user group meetings. So at the national level, we really need to stay on top of developing NENA GIS standards, and the best way that we did that was to be directly involved in NENA work groups and conferences. There are also several national addressing initiatives that were underway, and we were invited to participate in federal address-related projects with both the U.S. Census Bureau and the U.S. DOT. In addition, we were invited to participate in NSGIC's NextGen 911 and address work groups to share what we were learning. NSGIC, or the National States Geographic Information Council, is a professional organization of GIS counterparts in other states, and many of our colleagues were also looking to build address points. So constant communication and education were key to maintaining these partnerships. And throughout the project, we were sharing what we learned in these activities with our stakeholders through webinars, through our newsletters, and other means. We also hosted one of NENA's day-long training courses, GIS Data for NextGen 911, across the state at 6 different locations. We wanted to bring that training down to the local government level. We also made sample data available to our CAD vendors so that they can understand how data was parsed into NENA's new CLDXF standard and begin figuring out how to ingest our data into their current products and their future NextGen 911 compliant products. Next slide, please. So this is an example of addresses that we parsed into NENA's CLDXF, or the Civic Location Data Exchange Format Standard. This standard was approved earlier last year, and we used it throughout our data build process. What's really nice about this standard is that it breaks an address down into its smallest components and if needed, they can be put back together in most any format for use in today's CAD and GIS systems that may not yet be CLDXF compliant. Actually, we took a few of our bi-monthly webinars and focused how addresses in the SAM address points were being parsed into CLDXF. And we even gave our participants the opportunity to send us some of the most complicated addresses to see if they could stump us. Next slide. So this is an example of our actual SAM address points shown against our state's high-resolution orthoimagery. And we symbolize the points by placement type. And in this image, you'll see that the green circles are placed on structure rooftops, the yellow triangles are vacant but validly addressed parcels, and blue circles are placed on driveways. On the next slide, you'll see how the driveway access points were placed. And you can forward to the next slide. When there was more than one structure on the parcel and the contractor was unable to determine which structure the address was associated with. And there's a couple areas that'll pop right out at you if you look closely. So earlier this year, we actually finished our data build. We had 6.2 million total address points delivered, 5.1 million of which were primary addresses, and an additional 1.1 million are subaddresses. And we estimate that there are probably at least another additional 2 million subaddresses yet to be added to the data set, and expect that number will be higher, especially since the New York City data does not yet include subaddresses, and they are in the process of beginning to build their own subaddress address points. Next slide, please. So during the build, not every point that was provided in the source data could be accurately geocoded to a SAM address point or the county's address parcel data. However, in many cases, we found that we could geocode these addresses to a road centerline. And these geocoded addresses, or what we called spatially invalid points, are shown here in pink and are symbolized according to the source data that came from. You're probably saying, okay, so why would you have points that didn't geocode? What would cause this? Well, in some cases, we found that it was not uncommon for address numbers to have been transposed into the original source data. So, for example, 42 Maple Avenue may have been unknowingly transposed as 24 Maple Avenue in the alley or parcel source data. And since there are many different source data sets that were used in each county's data build, most likely we picked up the correct address from another source. However, we don't want to lose the information that we captured, and we still return these spatially invalid points to our county partners so they can verify the address and correct the original source data, or in some cases, if the address actually was valid, add it to the SAM address points in its correct location. Next slide, please. In some cases, we also had some of the addresses that were submitted that were provided in the source data that wouldn't even geocode to a road centerline. And these records are also returned to our county partners for further research. And we encourage our county partners to review the non-located address records that originated from the alley list first, as these are addresses that are represented from which a 911 call may eventually originate from. Next slide, please. So as previously mentioned, all of our SAM address points are publicly available. And once they've been delivered to a county, they're posted as a downloadable file on our New York State GIS Clearinghouse, and they're also added to our web map service. And we still have a handful of counties left to deliver their final data, and at that point we'll make all the data available on our clearinghouse. However, all the points have already been incorporated into our enterprise geocoding service. This service actually uses a cascading or step geocoding points where any input address are looking first at our address points, and then if an address is not able to be found, it will then default and look into the road center lines for a potential address match there. Next slide, please. So as the address point data build started winding down and we were delivering data to the counties, we started transitioning from the data build stage to a data maintenance stage. Now, not just our address points, but also of our statewide road center line file. We had a statewide road center file that we had built back over 10, 12 years ago. And during the SAM build, we kind of had to slow down our maintenance on it in order to be able to accomplish the address points build. So it's important to note, though, that the road center lines that we had were one of the source data sets for the address point build. And what we had in our contract that worked out really well for us was that if the contractor found a name or an address range issue with our road center lines when they compared it to the new SAM address points, or if we were actually missing the road center lines in an area where there were a new cluster of SAM address points, the contractor would add a flag to those address points. And then we're using these flags as a guide for us to focus and prioritize our street edits today. Next slide, please. So at this point, we're basically now considering the data as not state data, but it's actually our county partners' data. We're not going to be able to maintain this without their insistence. So in this maintenance stage, counties are correcting the location of the spatially invalid address points. They're also adding new address points for valid addresses in the exception report records and in areas of new construction that they know about locally. They're also working on moving driveway points onto the correct structures and are accurately locating some of the sub-addresses. So the state's role in this phase of data maintenance is to facilitate discussions within the counties on how to best to maintain this address point data. And we also provide free web-based data maintenance tools that offer live data editing and edit reporting capabilities for those who aren't going to be allowed to actually edit the data, but see an error and are reporting it to someone who is allowed to edit the data. And of course, the state's also continuing to provide our data hosting and distribution services. So next slide. So for our facilitated discussions, I thought that it would be good to show you some examples of what we actually do. We actually go back on site and we have 3-hour meetings with the county partners, and some of the meetings have actually extended hours beyond that if the counties decide to use them for planning sessions. So I bring my markers, I bring my flip charts, and we really dig into who's creating addresses, how these addresses are being shared within the county and with local governments, and what county databases they're stored in. And from that, we're able to see who is or should be involved in SAM address point data maintenance and what the role is or might be. This is really a great way for everyone to see where they fit in and the importance of reporting address errors and change notifications as soon as they're seen and discovered. So after we spend some time going through the delivered data, also during that meeting, we start looking at specific situations in their data to really prioritize and gauge what they need to spend time looking at first. It's really quite an overwhelming meeting, and a lot of folks are pretty drained by the time that we're done with it. Next slide, please. So wrapping up, our online web editing tool went live on March 27th, and since then we've trained 10 counties who've already made over 5,600 address point edits. Our state staff are now focusing on updating our statewide road center lines, and to date they've made almost, I'd say, 75,000 edits based on the address point flags and other edits that our county partners are submitting that need to be corrected on the streets. So between removing the address point flags where the road center lines were corrected and adding new address points for huge subdivisions and mobile home parks our county partners are submitting, state staff have also made over 160,000 edits to SAM address points. So that's kind of a high-level summary of where we are today. I'd like to thank everyone for their time and hope that you found value in listening to this presentation today.
Sure, I really appreciate that. I'm going to open it up for question and answer. I've got a couple of people who have raised hands. Tony Jasanowski from Panasonic, I'm going to unmute you, so if you have a question, please ask that. You there, Tony? All right, Tony, if you're not there, I'm going to move on to the next. David Connor, I have your hand up next. Don't see where you're dialed in, David, so if you have a message, please send it to me in a chat. Selena MacArthur, do you have a question for Cheryl? You're unmuted, Selena. Well, 3 for 3 on that.
Oh, thank you. But sorry, my question actually is for Ms. Serena Maxey.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, no worries.
Go ahead. Ask Serena your question while Serena's still on here.
Okay, Serena, how is the OEC's program overlaid with FirstNet or interoperating with FirstNet, if at all? That was my question.
Yeah, Serena, did you hear that question from Selena? We may have. That's why I wanted to ask her a question. She said she may have had to drop early. So
okay, no worries.
If you can email that question to us, we'll forward it to her and get you a response.
Okay, thank you very much.
Mm-hmm. One of the questions I had for you, Serena, was it sounds like you've had a great working relationship with the 911 folks. How can other states replicate what you've done in New York?
Okay, so in New York State, there is nothing I can recommend more than face-to-face contact and picking up the phone and talking to people. I know today's technology, a lot of people like to shoot off texts and send email messages, but there's nothing like getting in front of people, sitting with them, going on their turf, on their site, and hearing and understanding what their issues are or what their past experiences are. We did a lot of one-on-one meetings with the 911 coordinator leadership early on, and that was something that we made a good conscientious effort to make sure we did that. When we were actually at the phase of wrapping up the initial outreach and then also starting to data deliverables, I think in one calendar year I put 10,000 miles on a car driving around the state.
I want to remind anybody else, too, if you have any questions, to please use the WebEx chat feature or raise your hand so that we can get you unmuted. You can ask your question. One of the other questions that I've had, too, that's come across is what are the next steps for the state's GIS program?
So in the next steps that we're looking at is we're full-blown into data maintenance. We've procured an online editing tool that we're slowly rolling out to counties, and we're pretty much taxing the performance of the application. We're the largest data sets they've ever loaded in there, and we're kind of scrambling to even up our own internal hardware to make sure that we have systems that are going to be able to process the huge number of edits that are there. But the outreach hasn't actually ended. Once the counties have been trained even how to use the tool, or if they're a county that's not using the tool and they're providing us their edits through other coordinated means, we need to be in constant contact with them because everyone is really, really busy, and it's really hard to, remember that, oh yeah, I have 10 new addresses I have to put in today. And what we found, though, is that by offering overnight processing of the data, so folks may be editing the data live right at that point in time, overnight we run some QA/QC health checks, and we re-export out all the data, address points and street center lines, and make them available to our county partners the very next morning when they come in so they can have everything in there ready to go.
Thank you. And one of the other questions we had, because you said you got 100% participation from the counties, how difficult was that to get? It sounds like you put a lot of miles on to do it, but were there any kind of roadblocks?
There were lots of roadblocks. The first thing that we did is we had our attorneys had to draft a legal document, and then we took that and we ran it by a couple of our county partners. Some of the county partners that would be easy sells and some of the county partners that would be more difficult to point out what the issues were. And then we took their input, redrafted the document a little bit, and that was the one we actually hit the streets with and talked to our county partners with. You have the people who jumped on board right away, got a lot of agreements and signatures done, and those that were having a harder time tended to be a lot in our real property community, and that's because they were providing us parcel data that they actually still sell. And so they looked at it as a possibility of, well, how would this impact if I'm providing you my parcel data? And we had to assure them, well, we're not posting their parcel data. All we were doing is we were using the spatial boundaries of their property to identify the structures within one of them was going to get an address, and then the value of the address would come from their parcel location address field. And so once we got past that, a lot of the property directors came on board and were authorizing signing the document. Those that were still having an issue, the real property tax directors we know have their own separate their own separate email listserv, and they were starting to email each other behind the scenes. And what we were hearing from those who had already signed the agreement was, we're telling them we're not understanding what your issue is. It's not your data that's going out in the public domain. It's being used as a source to create a new XY coordinate with just an address point on. We did get down to the end. There were a couple interesting situations. One of them was a county that had a lot of issues with the press in the past finding information on their data sites and using that against them in some methods. So they were really reluctant to sign anything. And the status maps that we were putting in our SAM newsletters, we also posted online on our website, and we would update it every couple weeks as we posted new data. And one of the times that we posted a status map, we actually decided that, well, green counties were counties that were already signed the agreement. Green hatched where they had the agreement and were in the process of signing it. white meant we hadn't talked to them, and when they said they absolutely weren't going to sign anything, we changed them to red. And within a couple of days of being changed to red, we got a phone call asking why were we red, and we explained why. You said flat out you weren't going to participate. And they asked, can we be changed to white while we take this back to our attorneys? And lo and behold, after a couple months later, we were able to actually make them green. They were one of our last holdouts. So there was a lot of discussions. I got called in front of the finance board where there was one gentleman who had an issue related to whether or not they would be liable for providing data if something happened and someone used our address points. And in our agreement, there was clearly a non-disclosure, a liability statement that protected them from that. So there were some kind of the fun things that we ran into that process.
I have a question from Pete Kirby. I'm going to unmute him so that he can ask the question. And Donna Pena, I don't see you dialed in, so if you could send me a chat message, I'll ask your question for you. I'm going to unmute you now, Pete, so you can ask your question.
Thank you, sir. I just want to ask if any of the data that you've collected includes information about the type of occupancies that this addresses. It seems that would be valuable information for public safety folks to have, especially call takers as they're trying to determine the sorts of questions that they might ask from callers at those locations.
One of the things that we did in our data design is every address point has its own unique statewide ID. Now, as you saw in one of the earlier slides, there were a lot of counties who already had address points, and many of them have the type of information that you're talking about already stored in local databases. So what we also did is we carried a local ID on the address point. So there's two IDs in many cases. One is an ID that would keep it unique within the state, and one was the county's own original county ID. And what that allows them to do is they can now link back to their existing address point data and carry over and relate all those additional fields where they carry that information. We've also been in conversations with the U.S. Census Bureau. A lot of folks are probably approached and will be approached in the next couple of years on what they call their LUCA program, where they're trying to get a master address list of all the residences within the state. And we've been talking to them about if they're going to build a national address database that's going to be publicly accessible outside of their Title 13, and states and local governments provide data into that data set, could they populate that attribute that would indicate is this address a residence, a business, or both? So that is something, too, that we're pressing the issue on at the national level.
Thank you, ma'am.
Mm-hmm.
Another question we have is, do you find a lot of turnover with the GIS folks that require you to go back and provide retraining?
So our new data maintenance application, we've only rolled it out since March, so we haven't had a lot of changeover. A lot of the folks who are using that tool are already responsible for editing MSEGs and maintaining alley lists, and a lot of them tend to be more permanent and have that background knowledge. One of the things that we are planning to do, though, as we continue to roll out the application, is start to create little online training webinars, basically put up little YouTube videos that walk through steps in the training booklet. So when we go on site, we actually have a training booklet with 6 different exercises that we go through and train them on, so that should that person leave, and in every county there's always at least 3 people that are being trained, somebody else can sit with them and either use the training booklet or go through the little webinars that we're going to be creating and use them as a guide. And we also make sure that everyone in those training booklets have all our phone numbers. We have our email addresses, and we also have a joint email that they can email questions to that we'll respond to the same day.
Thank you. I have another question from David Connor. Could you define subaddresses? And he follows up with that too, has there been any significant stories from New York public safety law enforcement utilizing the SAM geo data sets?
So let me answer the first question, which was with subaddresses. So in the NENA Civic Location Data Exchange format standard, a subaddress consists of any one of 6 fields. So there's building, floor, unit, room, seat, and additional location information. And when we built our data set, we knew that a lot of the CAD systems may not be able to handle subaddress matching right away. So if we had an apartment building that only consisted of apartments A, B, C, D, so we have 12 Pine Street, Apartment A, 12 Pine Street, Apartment B, C, and D, we actually had 5 address points delivered. We would have one address point delivered that had absolutely no subaddress information, and we had an attribute on all ours that's either primary or subaddress. It's kind of a yes or no. So primary point, yes. If it's subaddress, it would say no. And then in addition, the contractor would deliver all 4 subaddress points for those 4 individual apartments. That way, if someone had a CAD system that couldn't handle subaddress instances, they could very quickly strip them out, put them in a separate layer for maybe map display purposes instead. But for any type of call routing or validation, they would stick strictly with the primary address points of the 12 Pine Street. And can you repeat the second part of that question for me again, please, John?
Yeah, well, the other thing that David asked was, has there been any significant stories from the New York Public Safety law enforcement utilizing the SAM geo data sets?
Worries, did you say?
No, any significant stories from the use of the data, of the geo data sets?
Not that we've delved into yet, but we know that a lot of entities have not had updated data in some of their centers for over 5 years, and they're tripping over themselves to get this data loaded. And we're helping some of the counties to work with their CAD vendors to make sure it can be incorporated into their existing systems. But the goal is it is coordinated. It is a statewide standard, and we are trying to work directly with CAD vendors to help them integrate our data into their current systems for all our county and local government 911 centers across the state.
Thank you. I have one last question for you, and then I think we're going to have to wrap it up. We're getting close to the end of the time. Have any counties switched to use only the state ID instead of having a local ID?
We have had some folks that are actually dropping their local ID and switching to our new ID. And they didn't see any need to actually maintain both IDs. Once we originally delivered the data back to them, they linked their data back to ours, carried over the attributes they needed, and then re-exported that into another table with our new IDs. So as we provide updates or they put in address points and it's given a new state ID, they can still link back to that older legacy data, but now it has the new state ID. So they basically transitioned it over.
Thank you very much, Serena and Cheryl. I'm going to ask Lori if you have any closing remarks.
Well, I'd just like to thank both Cheryl and Serena. The information that they've shared with us today represent countless hours that have been put in support of those of us, who are trying to support the folks that answer the 911 calls, and we really, really appreciate your sharing that information with us today. So thank you for your time.
You're welcome.
This concludes today's webinar. We appreciate everyone's participation. An archived version of today's webinar will be available on 911.gov soon. The next seminar is scheduled for Tuesday, December 8th at 12 noon Eastern Time. We hope you'll be able to join us. Thank you and have a great day.